Where's the remote? Found it.
Turn off the lights.
All right.
Did you grab the drinks?
Yeah, I got them.
Okay, I'm making the popcorn.
It's starting. Come on.
All right. Okay, I'm here. Hit the button. Hi, I'm Jill.
And I'm Gianna.
And welcome to the We Watch It All podcast,
where we watch it all and give you our opinions.
AKA the opinions no one ever asked for. Did you really put that up there so you could read it?
No, I just put it up in case somebody forgets.
And who would that somebody be?
Could be either of us.
I haven't forgotten.
Okay. I haven't forgotten. My timing's just been off. There's a difference. Forgetting and timing being off are two different things. Okay, but...
Well, she's down there ready to eat paper, that cat.
Oh, sissy. Why? We can never just have it go smooth. It's 8 o'clock. The cat's going to eat paper. Somebody's going to lose their marbles. And it's probably... I'll lose mine.
Okay.
All right. So today we're going to discuss Rogue One, a Star Wars story. This came all the way back out on December 16th, 2016.
December 16th?
Yeah, December 16th, 2016.
Oh.
Happy birthday. Yay.
Yeah. 2016, I was so much younger then. Ooh.
Okay, well, we're covering this because the day you're listening to this, if you're listening to the day it came out, it's Andor Day. The first 3 episodes are out, and our episode for Andor is going to come out on Friday. We'll also be covering She-Hulk the same day as well. So if you want to listen to that, you can check that out. But we have never seen Rogue One.
No, we thought about it a couple of times.
Well,
because
okay,
I vaguely remember when we were going to see...
The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
Skip.
we were talking about watching it, and we I don't know. We said it was too...
Excuse me 1 second.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Ma'am, drop the paper.
Yep, that looks like she's listening. Oh, she looks so defeated. That was such a mad mother move.
Okay, and we're back.
Sorry, Sky, your mom's mean.
I had to take the paper.
She had a rough day.
She did.
She got beaten up by her brother a lot.
She doesn't care.
Hi, sweet girl. You know I love you most. Yeah, it's okay. Your mother's mean. Yeah, you just sit there and do your thing. Anyhow.
Okay, we're back from Sissy and her paper eating. I think, so we started getting to Star Wars when Mandalorian premiered, because we saw all the talking about Mandalorian, and we're like, we should get into that.
No, it was before that.
Like, right before the Mandalorian, like, season 1, episode 1 of Mandalorian was coming out, we were hearing, I was personally hearing things.
Didn't the movie come out?
No, so Rise of Skywalker came out around the same exact time as Mandalorian. So we were like, okay, we should watch all the Star Wars movies, and then we can go see the new one at the time, episode 9, in theaters, and we were watching Mandalorian. So it's truly Mandalorian. But we were watching them, and I don't think we were going to have enough time to go and watch all 9 movies, or 8 movies.
There was another one we cut out too.
Solo. Yes, we still haven't actually seen Solo. So if they ever do something with Solo, we'll probably watch it. We'll probably watch it one day, but it didn't seem like it was important. I know people would be like, it is important. Yeah, we know.
No, after seeing this movie, I do think they all are important. Like,
no, yeah, every piece of Star Wars content, I think, is playing a part, and we see it now, especially in like Mandalorian, all these characters coming
for
over.
You guys that are born of this time, look, I know that those movies, that these add-ons didn't even exist, and they didn't think about these things. Those Star Wars movies, the Star Wars movies were made 1, 2, and 3. There you go.
Well, but it wasn't even originally A New Hope, which is called Star Wars. It was just gonna be Star Wars.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It was when I went to it. It was called Star Wars.
I know.
Like
I'm just
back
saying.
in the dinosaurs when we had to ride them to the movie theater. It was called Star Wars. That's what it was. But
and a ticket was a penny. Damn it.
Yeah, damn.
Now they're like
Skippy,
$13.
man. You got you could just spit on the floor and they threw gas in your tank. Look, the bottom line is this: they didn't do all this stuff, and kudos to the brainchild that thought about adding on these befores and sideways ones and all sorts of things, because you really expanded it, and it was nice. Don't get me wrong, when I watched Star Wars, were there questions that I had where I was like, well, where did this come from, and how did this happen, and how did this so it is nice that they explained it, and that's what this one did. This one added like a little context to stuff that I wish we had watched it in a way, because I think it would have been helpful or just informative. But the sad part is, I really thought Andor was a place. So that's
Oh,
how much-
like the show that we were gonna watch. You didn't realize it was the character's name? Okay.
no. So that shows you how much I know.
But speaking of Star Wars adding things on, I think that's my favorite part about the Star Wars, like, universe is different to Marvel. Marvel, we know the starting point, but we don't know where it's going to end. But you kind of have, like, a rough idea. If you count, like, obviously there's stuff before Anakin, but if you count that as a start, you know that that's where it started, and it finishes with, like, as of now, with Rey and Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, like
so I think it's, like, interesting,
a
like,
bit more limited, probably.
or like they're just adding more things. Well, now they're going back and they're doing like the beginning of the Jedi. I have this book that I'm gonna read, so it's a lot.
Well, yeah, and plus they also are doing like they're smart. They're like how they do with that Bad Batch. They're diving into those clones, which were like nothing important. Like they were nothing of any interest to anybody. They were like little sidebars. Like they were little fighters. Like who would ever thought to make
I
a whole
think Star Wars,
like a whole show about it?
Star Wars has the most fans that I think get interested in side characters out of everybody. Like side characters.
Well, they are making them interesting.
Yeah.
So there's that. You know, I mean,
This is before crying.
So.
All right, well let's get. Sissy's gonna just be so rude, isn't she, today? So we're gonna just get into a little recap. We came up with a couple of questions that we're gonna discuss after we get into this little, like, recap. So the movie has a little prologue, and that starts in the year 13 BBY, which BBY means battle before the Battle of Yavin. So that's how it either goes. It's either before the Battle of Yavin or after the Battle of Yavin, which takes place in A New Hope. And in that year we meet Jyn Erso, who's our main character, and we find out that her dad, Galen, worked for the Empire, and that they actually are going to need him again when Krennic, who is an Imperial director, comes and asks him to finish his work on the Death Star, but he refuses, and they end up killing his wife, and Jyn escapes, and then Saw Gerrera, who's a resistant fighter, comes and rescues her. And that's the little prologue.
Yeah, but they called him like an extremist.
Well, yeah, they did, like, and like, well, I think at that point it's just like that. When I looked it up, everyone was just saying resistance fighter, but in the movie they were like, he was like an extremist resistance fighter, like he was serious.
Yeah. That you saw all this coming though. You saw mom dying. You saw the kid escaping. I mean, there was no doubt.
Well, yeah.
Because mom, she pipes up. Yeah, so I'm not talking about you, Mom.
Yeah, I don't know what
She
I don't know
piped up
what
out
she
of
thought she was
nowhere
going
from
to do
the
against the
fields.
one guy and
And
all
I'm
those
like,
stormtroopers.
what did she think she was doing jumping up? I mean, I think she was just pissed and done. And her character needed to die to make the story work, of course. So,
Yeah.
you know, she was going down no matter what she did. But, like, I'm like, yeah, really? She got up and did that? Like, come on. She just
What a
made everything,
fool.
yeah, she just made everything so much worse. But,
Yeah. So then 0 BBY, this is literally days before the Battle of Yavin at this point. We see that Jyn is imprisoned in an Imperial prison camp. And then she ends up getting rescued by a bunch of rebels who take her to Yavin 4, which is like the head base for like the rebels, basically, the resistance, where she meets Cassian Andor. Not a planet, but a person. Who's a rebel intelligence officer who has found out that there is a defective pilot telling people that the Empire is using kyber crystals, which, if you don't know, that's what powers their lightsabers. Every Jedi has to go out, get their little kyber crystal, and it goes in.
no, really? I didn't know that.
That's what's in their hilt, is their kyber crystals. Yeah. Well, he's saying that they're getting the kyber crystals from a planet called Gianna, and they're planning to make a planet killer, and that he was sent by Jin's dad, Galen, basically. And Cassian, Jyn, and his reformed Imperial droid K2SO, or is it K2S0?
It was K2S.
Oh, okay. I'm going to make sure I got that right. They basically head to Jeddah because they believe if they can find Saw Gerrera, that they'll find her father.
And they knew they couldn't get in to see him without somebody like a
well,
her
yeah, they
caliber.
needed her. Yeah,
Yeah, because they would never let them. And I mean, based on like how that whole place was set up, with all like the like wacky characters and guards and stuff like that, you were not probably getting in to see him unless you were somebody of
importance.
yeah,
to him.
to him.
So once they end up getting to,
And even her when she got there, if you notice, like he said, "Oh, is this a setup? Are you here to do something to kill me or something like that?"
Yeah.
Like he didn't even, as much as he wanted to trust her, he didn't even really truly trust her.
Yeah. Once they get to Jeddah, though, they meet Chirrut and Baz, who are guardians of the Wilms. Basically, they guard the kyber crystals, but they don't have a job now because the Empire has
I thought
stripped.
they were calling him Blaze.
Baz.
Yeah,
B-A-Z-E.
Yeah, but it was. I
Maybe.
think it was the way the one guy said it.
But they don't really have jobs anymore to guard the kyber crystals because the Empire has taken pretty much, they've cleaned Jeddah out of their kyber crystals. And the whole group ends up getting captured and taken to Saw. And that's where he shows Jin a video of her dad saying that he did leave a flaw in the Death Star so it's able to be destroyed and that the plans are on Scraff. S-A-C...
Yeah, I think that is Scraff.
S-C-A-R-I-F. Scraff.
Scarf? Wait, what is it?
Scraff. It sounds like it wants to be scarf, but I think it's Scraff.
Scarf. No, I think it would be because that's scar with if.
Scarf.
Scarf.
Google the pronunciation.
Oh, no one's got time for that. Keep it
Okay, well, it's either scarf or scraff. We apologize for not pronouncing it right. Obviously, we do know that the plan to destroy the Death Star is obviously Luke has to shoot it through the reactor. He kind of says that, but obviously we know what it is because A New Hope came out before this.
Yeah.
So we do know. And the Empire ends up doing a test shot from the Death Star to Jeddah because basically it's a useless planet to them now because there's no more kyber crystals, so what's the point of it? They do all end up escaping except for Saul. He kind of just accepts that this is his fate and he's going to die here.
Yeah, well, he's wearing a
robot legs.
Yeah, and he's got like a respirator on his chest, so clearly he's not going to be well.
No.
He probably needs to call it a day.
And then Krennic ends up going to Edu to find out who from Yelen's team basically let this like leak of the plans out. And hi sis, she was scratching the ottoman. She threw me off. Hi you.
Krennic.
Yeah.
Galen.
All right, sorry, I was checking on Sissy.
Dead.
Oh. Krennic Galen dead. No, that's not where I was.
That's where you're headed.
No, well, so the rebels also end up heading to Edu to find Galen, and once there, Cassian.
You know what?
I
couldn't figure out how all of a sudden he knew where the father was.
I think they sent him a message, or the pilot might have known. The pilot might have known, because the pilot Bodhi, who's the defective pilot, is with them. And that's when Cassian and him, they end up going to try to kill Jin's dad, but he ends up not. So I think it was him.
He made it.
That
all
part,
of a sudden he was
why was that part of the movie so blurry to me?
I don't know. He made it sound like
they were just there.
He said to her, "Oh, I think I know where your father is now." And I'm like, "Did I miss something?
We might have missed something.
Who told you where he was? Because I didn't hear any of that."
Yeah. So Jin, Chirrut, and Baz also follow them. And she ends up actually seeing her father after the 13 years, but he dies in her arms because the rebels bomb the base.
Yeah, but the crazy girl climbs up some kind of weird-ass ladder, which, I hope you don't got no fear of heights, girly, because that was crazy. And then that Andor, he, sees her over there?
Yeah, he sees her, so he tells them not to, shoot.
Yeah,
But he can't get in contact with the, rebel pilots to tell them, don't bomb this, people are on there. So they do all end up escaping in a Imperial ship. So, Krennic goes to speak with Darth Vader. We see him soaking in his bacta tank. The same thing if you watch Kenobi. His tank, that's where he goes to, meditate and heal, which I watched.
Yeah, I need one of those tanks.
Maybe. Boba Fett also had one in the Book of Boba Fett.
I thought that was to help them heal.
Yeah, it can heal mental and physically.
Though. Oh, I thought it had something to do with their skin.
But I wonder if the Rogue One people watch Kenobi and they're like, damn, we could have had Hayden Christensen actually in that tank. Because they do show a bunch of close-up shots of him, close where you can't distinct if it's actually the actor or not. But I wonder if they're watching that and be they're just a little, not super pissed, but a little bit that they didn't get to use him actually for their Vader. And when he speaks with Krennic, he tells him that the Death Star is becoming more of a problem than it is a solution. And then back on Yavin 4, Jin tries to tell the rebels that they need to go to Scarif to get the plans to basically destroy the Death Star, but they don't really believe her because she's the only one.
Yeah, I mean,
she's the only one that saw the dad's message, spoke to the dad, and now that the dad is dead, there's no real proof that she's telling the truth.
And that Cassian Andor, whatever his name is, he actually.
You better learn his name.
I call him Cassian Andor.
You said Cassian or Andor.
No, I said Cassian Andor. Like, no, like, I kept it like one whole word. Not, there was no or in there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I
sorry.
just made him one whole word. Uh,
Get ready for
which I
Andor on Friday,
guess
guys.
is just as bad, but he told her, like, when she was like complaining or something like that, he said to her, he goes, not all of us had the luxury of like choosing to do this. He's like, I've been doing this since I was 6 years old, so a lot of them have been in these situations for years, so I guess they know to go on their like instincts, and I guess they were feeling like, oh, she's coming with too good of information, that like maybe they felt like they couldn't trust her or something, you know, but which
That's
understandable.
So her and Cassian and a couple other rebel fighters. Cassian Andor. A couple other rebel fighters who believe her, they end up stealing a ship and leaving for Scrath. I want to say, I don't want to call it Sakaar. That's not even right.
No.
But
right.
while they're stealing the ship, this is where the movie gets its name. They ask for what's the ship's call sign, and he says Rogue One. That's how they got their name. Always fun when the movie like says the title in there. And then once they arrive to Scraft, they do a classic, stealing some of the Imperial outfits so that they blend in.
Oh yeah, ain't that a classic?
That's a classic in Star Wars. Krennic also ends up arriving there so that he can see every transmission that Galen has ever sent. And the rebels do end up eventually joining in the fight with them. And Tarkin, who's now in control of the Death Star, he launches into hyperspace to investigate what's going on there, which I don't... Listen, I could be so wrong. We haven't watched the movies in a long time, but I do not remember. I don't know why I always just thought the Death Star stood where it stood. Like, I didn't know it could launch into hyperspace. That sounds so silly probably to some people.
No, I didn't. I thought it was just there.
Stagnant and like it couldn't move. But you know, it is technically a ship. But I've always thought more of like as like its own, like a built planet in a sense. Yeah. So I just didn't think it could move. So it was interesting to see it like move. Also for me, I feel like this gave like the Death Star some real scale. This movie. Yeah. Because I think, you know, obviously in the original, they could have only done so much back when they made it, but like this really gave it like, you know, like damn, this thing's big. Type of scale too. And Jin, Cassian, and K2 end up getting to the Citadel where the plans are, and they get locked in the vault because K2 put them in there to keep them safe, and he ends up dying protecting them. And Bodhi, the pilot, like I mentioned, he needs to connect to the base so that he can tell the rebels that she's gonna send them the plans. Like,
yeah, because that was the only way
because they couldn't get it off.
Yeah, they couldn't get it out of there.
And while trying to set up this connection, Chert and Baz die, and then back in the vault, while they're like climbing to get to like where the, I guess like the disc is for the plans. I guess you call it a disc, right?
Yeah, they were trying to get up there with I think they were trying to get to the highest thing where they could transmit it or something.
Well, they had to get in there to get the plans, and then they had to climb up there to get to the satellite. So once they have gotten the plans, they can like upload it. But while doing that, Krennic finds them and he ends up shooting Cassian, and he's kind of presumed dead. Yeah, but then he's not dead.
Well, it looked like he hit that
thing quite hard. Like,
I mean,
like
there was a sound like it was like thud.
He hit it like 3 different times. He definitely should have some like broken ribs in a back and maybe a spine.
Well, he's gonna die soon anyway, so it doesn't matter. Or so they let you think.
Well, Jin ends up making it to the satellite so that she can transmit it, but Cassian ends up saving her from getting shot by Krennic. And
which, that's the other thing that was weird to me. Remember I think I said it to you. Yeah. Like 1 minute he's stuck in the elevator, you see the elevator stop, and then the next minute nothing changed, and you see him magically out of the elevator ready to shoot her. Like, where the hell did you come from? Don't be playing those kind of mixed up games. That's no good. You can't do that kind of stuff. True.
Yeah, it was kind of like weirdly edited. Like, there he is all of a sudden.
Yeah, and
like it would have made sense if, like, I don't know, like if they showed that maybe the elevator only stopped like a floor away. Like, we don't know how many floors it was, but like, you know, you just saw him stop in an elevator. Yeah. And Tarkin arrives and ends up shooting the base with the Death Star and helps stopping the plans from getting out. And obviously, by shooting it with the Death Star, that means it's going to blow up. And Jin and Cassian kind of just accept their fates and die due to the blast, which I was kind of surprised that they killed them, the literal main characters.
Yeah, because how's there going to be a show? Oh, wait, let's go back before he became who he was. I'm like, because that's my first thought. I was like, wait a minute.
I wasn't expecting him.
There's a show about him. How you can't?
I
be
knew
on the
Andor
show?
was before this, but like I was
didn't.
still.
I thought it was a place, so clearly I didn't know.
But I didn't think they were gonna kill them. Oh my gosh, you didn't think they were gonna kill them, sis?
No.
And then the Death Star plans to make it to Admiral Radis.
Oh, I didn't get any of these names. Like, I don't know where
I
you
had
are.
to look that name up. I'm not gonna lie. I did look that name up. I don't remember from the movie. And he tries to launch into hyperspace, but he ends up instead meeting Darth Vader's ship, and Vader ends up boarding to obviously get the plans from his team. And they do get it to one of the ships in the hangar, and in that ship is Princess Leia, and she says that she has received hope.
Oh, how wonderful!
So like some
An end scene,
and then the next movie.
The next movie,
A New Hope.
Oh, I'm like,
not
wait a
us,
minute.
not us, no.
I'm like, wait a minute. I was only there for one.
I will say, seeing this, because also we didn't really mention this because he didn't have like a huge part, but Bail Organa, Leia's technical like adopted dad, he's in this movie obviously because he's part of the Senate with the rebellion.
He's funny. He's in it a lot, but not a lot. Like, it's a weird.
Yeah, he was in it, but he wasn't enough for like to be mentioned in our like little recap.
He wasn't like a chatty Cathy. Like, he was kind of in the background, and every once in a while he'd throw a one-liner up in there, or I gotta get back to my people, or like
he did the big one with where they were like, oh, can you reach out to your Jedi friend? He's like, yeah, I can reach. I served him in the Clone Wars.
But he was definitely knee deep in the rebellion.
Yeah, I think I did say seeing him in there kind of makes more sense to I think why like we see Leia the way she is. Like, I think this and Kenobi give a lot to like the Leia that we knew in the original trilogies. More like they built her up, like seeing obviously how pinnacle that he was in this and in Kenobi and things like that. We saw her in the rebellion. Also, the planet's craft where they had the Death Star intel or the plans for it was so interesting because I typically feel like you either see like sandy deserts or like real like forest or like just something that's like kind of like.
And which place was this?
This was the final place where they ended up blowing up, where they got the plans.
Oh yeah.
It was very like it had like palm trees.
Well, they had the beach, and they
like,
said that there's fighting on the beach, and I'm like,
I just think that's so different from like any other Star Wars places because I feel like it's either like
I've never really seen
snow
a beach.
or like sandy desert. Like there's really like no in between. I don't know if that's just because a lot of the shows end up taking place in the same places, but this one was different than like I literally wrote dry and gloomy other places.
Yeah.
Okay, so here are a couple questions that I came up with that I thought we could discuss. Okay, so simple. Who was your favorite character from the show?
It was that Chirrut. Yeah, I liked him.
I liked him too. He was good. Yeah. I'm not really sure if I have like a favorite. I picked Cassian, but like I don't really know who's my favorite.
But I picked that guy, but I also liked K2S0.
Oh yeah, you did chuckle quite a bit.
I liked him a lot. He was my favorite droid, but I didn't know if we were gonna have a favorite droid.
I didn't have a favorite droid because I feel like obviously
he dominated.
Him. Yeah, because he was like the really only. They didn't have like.
Three beep 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 boo.
Yeah, C-3PO and R2-D2 did make a little cameo. Okay, so where would you rank this in your opinion compared to other Star Wars movies and shows that we have watched? Like, where would you say? Like, not like number-wise. Like, you don't have to do a number ranking right now. But just like...
I mean, it was good. I think it was good for what it was supposed to be for. Which is to give you, like, a little backstory of, like, how Luke went about destroying the Death Star.
Yeah, like how they got the plans.
Yeah, which was neat because like it was interesting to see like how they got it, but because otherwise you're just assuming somebody gave it to him, but where did it come from? And like I didn't obviously back then I didn't give it much thought where he got any of that information from.
Yeah, but
it was interesting, like being that we had it to investigate. Like I think it was kind of like a filler, but at least a good filler because it actually filled in.
Yeah.
Like spaces that you couldn't put your finger on.
Well, I liked it, but I don't think it's probably one of my favorites out of anything.
Oh,
I'm still like,
I wouldn't say it's one of my
still
favorites.
Definitely prefer the like original trilogies and the shows. I definitely think out of everything, I know people might not agree with me, but I quite prefer some of the shows compared to the movies sometimes. And I'm not saying the new trilogies because I know
think
everybody
the
says they don't
shows-
like the new trilogies.
Maybe the shows have more time to like really develop certain things.
Yeah, I
or
also
something.
think like the characters in the shows are
Yeah.
more interesting. Like I really find the whole Mandalorian stuff like interesting to
Yeah.
me. And the clones too are also really interesting. So that's all like it's also just I think like a preference of like what I find interesting compared to some other people might be like, well, I really find the Jedi's interesting. Okay, well I agree, but like, you know. But I do think this was nice to see like how like almost in a sense everything, even if it's not a character that we already knew, is somehow like connected to everything that goes on. Like it's like how we were always like the Marvel universe with people crossing over and it's so connected. Like this is just another example of like how connected it all really is. Okay, so I also took note, where does this go in the timeline? I want to see if you do. I mean, we kind of mentioned it, but like between what movies?
Yeah, I'm not sure because Princess Leia is old.
She's adult Leia, yeah.
I'm assuming it goes.
Well, teenage, I
I'm
guess.
assuming it comes right before the one that, the first one, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it's gonna pick up like right from where she left off. But
Yeah. So this would be technically 19 years before the third episode of Star Wars, and then it takes place days before the Battle of Yavin, which is A New Hope. So it's right before the like original Star Wars movie, and you know what I do like too? I like that the first Star Wars movie is kind of like the main point where everything falls. Like you're either before that original one or you're like after that one in a sense. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
yeah,
it all revolves around this one battle of Yavin, like the most pinnacle point in the most important movie. Okay, so obviously, how do you think that this is going to tie into Andor, even though it comes before? Like, would it ties?
I don't know that it's going to. Like, I think it's just gonna show them, like, becoming the rebels that they are now.
Yeah.
Kind of like, especially since he made that statement that he's been in it since he was 6 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, they have plenty of time to like develop him and stuff and show how like these rebels were formed or created. I guess like they're gonna do like that's kind of my take is.
It's supposed to be taking place 5 years before Rogue One, and this whole season 1 is going to cover the whole like first year, I guess, and then the next season's probably, they said they're going to do the next 4 years, but I could see them trying to push for like a 5-season thing and have each season be a year because why not? It's Disney, the more money the better. But I also do think like I think it's probably gonna have flashbacks to this show because I just see people saying, "Oh, this looks like it could have been young Cassian in it." So I think they'll probably flash back to like how you were saying, "I've been in it since I was so young."
Yeah.
Okay, what character would you want more of? Obviously, besides Andor, because we already know he's getting his own show. But like somebody else that you would want to see.
I like that Chirrut guy, but that's like see, he's another guy that was like killed, so you're not making anything out of him.
Yeah, I also put.
But I think him and the other guy would have been interesting or like a funny show together.
Yeah, well, I did put them to I just put more overall of like these keepers. They actually do have a book about them.
Really?
Yes, which I do plan to consume almost all the Star Wars content possible. Books, comic books, all of it. And I'll probably read that book, so I'll let you know how it is. Or you could read it as well if you'd like. But yeah, I do want more of them. I'm sure the book would be good, but it's always visual content is always just so much more better sometimes to me. So I do think that if it's those two, I think it would be more interesting for like a show or just something in general, because just that building of like what would you call that? I don't know, like just showing what it is to be, I guess, like a guardian of the Kyber crystal would be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so what was your favorite fight scene?
Oh, it was when that guy Chirrut was fighting.
Oh, the first one, right, with the storm.
Yeah.
Okay, I also picked that one too, but I feel like
anytime he fought.
Yeah, he was.
Because that
really
was
good.
just
it was something different compared to. It wasn't
Yeah.
like a blaster or a lightsaber. He had like a stick, and it was just different compared. Also, Baz's gun was the most interesting Star Wars gun I've ever seen. It was like a normal gun, but it was like a mini gun thing. It just kept going.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why everybody doesn't have that kind of gun in Star Wars. Just saying. But also obviously the end scene with Vader in the hall. Oh, Sissy's yelling at us.
Yeah, that was
just
good too. Yeah.
That was really good. And it's
But
kind
that was
of
very typical. Like I felt like this one, what he did,
it was
took,
unique
like,
to
talent.
Star Wars. But the Vader scene's good because I always see people now. I've seen people like transition between that scene and then spoiler Luke scene in season 2 Mandalorian finale. where like they kind of like line them up because they look so similar, which I always think is really cool.
Yeah.
What's your favorite scene, Sissy? Now she's quiet. Okay, so now this is an interesting question because I kind of told you this one a little bit before, but how did you think the character Tarkin looked? Because he was a completely CGI character. Well, not completely. Like
I had no idea that he was, for starters. Secondly, what I noticed most about him when he turned around and I was looking at him full face, I'm like, oh, that's that guy from the Bad Batch, right?
Yeah, I believe he's in.
Yeah, and I'm like, his cartoon character is really lifelike. Because I thought he looked a lot like his cartoon character, but that would make sense that no, he's kind of simulated still.
I think he looked pretty good in my opinion. I think significantly better than the way Leia's face matching.
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't horrible.
She wasn't bad. If you look in the lips, it gets a little wonky.
Yeah.
But I think it was pretty good for trying to like make a young Leia again. I do still think that he had this like slight, or if you really looked at him, where he looked like he could have been ripped out of like a video game. But that's always it's kind of impossible not to do that, just where technology is right now. And then this was a question you asked me during the movie.
Oh.
Where was Leia's mom?
Well,
not Padme, obviously, but
yeah, because I mean, especially once they started showing the dad, because I thought to myself, well, wait a minute, I don't understand. Like, I thought she was, you know, I don't always get their titles and stuff like that, right? But I thought she was somebody like in charge. She was definitely somebody in charge, because I can remember her going out and telling Princess Leia, oh, you know, you need to do X, Y, and Z because you're royalty and this, that, and the other thing. So I was like, well, all right, where the heck was she? But then I guess she was back at her place.
I tried to look this up, and nobody else really questioned this but you, I guess. But I would assume that she was probably back in Alderaan, because before the after this, we do see they'll end up going back to Alderaan. And in A New Hope, Darth Vader does end up destroying Alderaan, threatening Leia. So he kills everybody there. So they end up dying. So she's, I guess, they're technically awaiting her death and not knowing it.
Oh, that's morbid. Like you told me the other day for Cabo Kai. I was listening to that. I was like, dang. She told me I kept picking all the morbid storylines.
But I'm just saying that's kind of what she was doing.
I was like, I hope they're not going to do that.
All right. So our last question is, who do you think could possibly cameo in Andor? Because listen, everybody always likes to talk about a cameo, and I'm not always saying a show needs a cameo. But if there was one, who would you want it to be?
Well, it could have that. It could have them all. It could have that soul guy. It could have him himself.
I think I heard that Saw is gonna cameo, possibly. I believe so. I think I saw him in the trailer, so he may be in this. So you may already have one guess right.
Well, I know he's.
Hello? What? Would you look at me like that? What happened?
No, I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Wait, I can't just remember. Well, you turned to me. Look at me.
I have no idea where I just went.
Look at me. Look at me. You went. Wait, look at me. You went.
I have no idea.
Your eyes popped out of your head. You scared me.
I have no idea where I was. I mean, I knew I was here. I heard what you were saying, but I don't know who you're talking about. Sorry.
You said that you thought Saw could cameo. And I said...
I'm going to have to play back. I don't remember any of that shit.
Hold on, we're going to take a pause. She's just going to listen to what she said 2 seconds ago.
No, I believe you, but what I'm saying is, did I actually say that statement, or did I just agree with you?
You said Saw, and I think he could. And I was like, I don't know who he could. But I just figured you were talking about Andor. And I was like, well, I'll just let that go. But then I was like, well, no, Saw. And then I told you Saw is going to be...
I think I'm remembering this. Yeah. I don't know. It's got to be 8:30.
8:44.
I see. I could tell you know, it's like a child. You could tell their time, like the time by when they like start to get punchy and gotta go sleep.
When she starts talking crazy. This was a new one though, because nobody else knows what I just witnessed. It was fully. We sit next to each other, and she just fully snapped her head to the left and looked at me with the biggest eyes ever. Okay, well, who do you think could cameo in Andor?
I do think Saul could cameo.
Saw,
yes.
I thought you were saying Saul.
I do. I call him Saul, but I know it's Saul. I know it's because I wrote it down SAW. I think maybe him, because obviously he'll be younger. Well, but I don't know how they're gonna make him younger.
Not much younger. Only 5 years younger. Doesn't have to be that. Like that could just be like a slight de-aging.
Wait, so they're not going back far, like when he was young?
No, just 5 years. But I think, like I was saying, people are definitely seeing. All right, anybody else?
He doesn't. Here's the thing too. That guy does not look that old.
Who?
I don't know what his name is in real life. I do know, but I can't.
The
think
guy
of
who
it.
plays Saw.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Oh God.
all right. Well, just who else? Who else?
Oh, I don't think anybody else. I think that's it. I mean, like, who else could really?
I don't know. Just asking. Well, okay. So I saw people online. These are some people that I saw people speculating about. Either Bale or Leia Organa, which I could definitely see Bale because he plays such a big part in the like Resistance. But I don't see Leia because then that would mean they have to like do a whole.
I don't think they would do it
Face
just because
swap.
of the fact that she's no longer with us.
Yeah, and I personally don't. I don't like when people do deep fakes of people that are no longer alive. Like
I
the
don't think
Luke
they'll do
in Mandalorian is one thing because Mark Hamill can give his consent and say yes, go ahead, and he like was a part of it. Where obviously Carrie Fisher can no longer do that, so I don't like that unless they found.
But I think her daughter probably would, because I think her daughter would be like,
Yeah.
she knows how much it meant to her mother, like Star
Yeah.
Wars and stuff
Well,
like
she
that.
did. I believe it was either this one movie or Rise of Skywalker where she did do this like the stand-in to put the face over her. I can't remember which one it was, but I think it was either one of these or both. It could have been, but I don't think they'll do Leia. Like I think if they're gonna
that
do
was it. I think you got Leia
and Kenobi, and I think that was it, and that was perfect. And I don't think we should do any more, in my opinion.
Okay.
I saw people saying Ahsoka. I just think now that Ahsoka's in live action, people are like, Ahsoka here and Ahsoka there because she was in...
Everywhere Ahsoka?
Yeah, pretty much everywhere Ahsoka. Which, listen,
I don't think
we
so.
like Ahsoka, but Ahsoka doesn't need to be in everything now that she's like has a live action. She has her own show coming. Leave her. People said probably K2SO, the
You
droid.
think he'll come back?
Well, this is
Oh,
before,
no, that's right. It's
so
before.
I
Damn
think
it.
I think we could see him getting
Yeah,
the
no,
droid.
I think he
I
would,
think
yeah.
we'll see him get the droid.
Yeah, I think he could. I hope so, because his personality was just so on
Because
point.
I saw people saying, "Oh, he's not in this," but I think he'll appear. Like I think we'll
he
see
was
him
so
getting
good.
him. And then a lot of people were saying anybody from the Rebels animated show, as that show is literally taking
I wish I could
chronologically.
speak on it.
You
but
have
I-
not seen that.
No. Sorry, I did the shoes again, everyone.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I've heard some people say Rebels, but I also know that Rebels, some of the people from
It's a
Rebels.
cartoon.
Yeah, but they're already casting live action because some of the people from Rebels are going to be in Ahsoka. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I think the most possible, I think Bail Organa, as the actor literally was just in Star Wars for Kenobi, so, you know, he's still cool with doing it. And K2SO seems like the most, I think, that's who my yes is.
Yeah.
I'd say, obviously, and Saw we did see in the trailers, but you kind of were not really, I showed her the trailers last night, but she was kind of up walking around, so you probably missed him in the trailer.
For where?
For Andor, the Saw. He was in the trailer.
Yeah, I saw him in the trailer, but who else were you just talking about? The Bale guy?
No, I was talking about you saw Saw. No, I didn't see Bale. Yeah, so that's my guess. I'm gonna go probably Bale for picking a human, and I think the droid. I think they're just keeping it. If I don't know why I see people saying he's not in it. I think he is gonna be in it. So whatever. That's my opinion. That's my opinion.
Okay, Jammer.
And that's all we have for now. We'll be back, like we said, on Friday with episodes 1 through 3 is coming out. The first 3 episodes for Andor, and then every Friday we'll post it. And also She-Hulk goes up that same day if you're interested. And I don't know how many Star Wars people like the Housewives, but we are covering the Housewives of Beverly Hills every Saturday for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then Monday we also do
And
our.
this week should be cuckoo.
Yeah, come on, get on the Star Wars train. No, get on the Housewives train, Star Wars fans. And then on every Monday, we also do a podcast where we talk about what we watched as like a solo, like separately, and discuss that. And we also we spin a little wheel and we do some questions and just do some little fun little things. And we tell you about news.
News? I don't have any news yet.
Well, it's only Wednesday.
True.
All right, well. Thank you guys so much for listening. Follow us on Instagram. We watch it all. That's where we post little news updates. What is going on?
Like, do you see how nice it stays? I had to get a new keyboard for my Surface Pro, and I went with black because
That's all the color they had.
Well, that and I was going to go with black anyway, but the gray got like dirty from the oils in your skin when your hands were typing, but like now the back part of it is like crappy looking because it like I don't know.
At least cat hair is not sticking to it. We have white cats. Go look at them on our Instagram. We watch it all.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Gotta go have ice cream now.
Oh, wait, give us 5 stars and a like if you're on YouTube, and don't give us anything below 5 stars. If you're thinking about it, just don't. Maybe we'll take a 4.5.
Yeah.
But
it'll balance out.
Yeah, just 5 only, please and thank you. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be here if you're a Star Wars fan on Friday, like we said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Say the thing.
Hit the button.
Yeah.
Or maybe she'll actually do it this time.
Oh my goodness.